Hello and welcome to another episode of PodcastDX, the show that brings you interviews with people just like you whose lives were forever changed by a medical diagnosis. I'm Lita.
I'm Ron.
And I'm still here.
No, you're Jean Marie.
Oh, that too.
Ron?
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 Yeah, do I have the wrong script?
Yeah, we're going to do organoids.
Oh. Okay. So collectively, we are the hosts of PodcastDX. On today's show, we will be talking about lab-grown mini bile ducts. And actually, I saw in the news recently that they're thinking about growing brains in the lab as well. But for right now...
I'll take one.
Well, they're saying that the brain would have its own consciousness, and then there's a whole...
I'll take two.
Oh, boy, what are you going to do with them? I'm a little bit nervous now. I did tell her that I watched the TV show Hannibal, and that I thought the cooking parts were really great. So we don't really know where this is going.
Okay.
But anyway, we're going to stick with lab-grown mini bile ducts.
Okay, that's right. Organoid technology holds great promise for regenerative medicine, and for the first time, it has been applied to humans. Bile ducts, which act as the liver's waste disposal system, and malfunctioning bile ducts are behind a third of adult and 70% of children's liver transplantations with no alternative treatments. There is currently a shortage of liver donors. According to the National Health Service, the average waiting time for liver transplant in the UK is 135 days for adults and 73 days for children. This means not only a limited number of patients can benefit from this therapy, but now in a study published today in Science, scientists at the University of Cambridge have developed a new approach that takes advantage of a recent perfusion system that can be used to maintain donated organs outside the body.
And I'm guessing that's something like the hot box.
Right.
That's right. Using this technology, they demonstrated for the first time that it is possible to transplant biliary cells grown in a lab known as, oh boy, normally we give Ron the hard words. What happened?
Cholangiocytes. Cholangiocytes.
Okay, into damaged human livers to repair them. So in other words, you have a clog like in a plumbing pipe, and now they have replacement plumbing pipes.
Okay.
Which is pretty amazing. Instead of replacing the whole house, you just replace the pipe.
Okay.
Or add a pipe.
Okay.
And they've repaired livers that were previously deemed unsuitable for transplantation due to bile duct damage. And this opens up more livers for transplantation and more research into working with other organs as well.
Okay. And with the chronic shortage of donor organs, it's important to look at ways for repairing damaged organs or even provide alternatives to organ transplantation.
Right, repair those that are still in the patient.
Right. And now maybe Ron will be with us.
Take a step back.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just take a step back and talk about these bile ducts and the liver. The liver, as we've discussed, it's the largest and most important solid organ in the body, and it does receive and processes all of the blood and nutrients absorbed from the intestines. Any toxins absorbed from the intestines are neutralized in the liver, and it also produces bile, which is emptied into the intestine through the bile ducts. The bile is then required to help the intestines digest the food that you eat. The liver also synthesizes almost all of the proteins found in the body. These proteins assist your body in performing many important functions like clotting blood after an injury or fighting off an infection. The liver also detoxifies waste products produced by muscle and other organs.
And goes really well with a nice Chianti.
Oh my God. So what happens if you don't have bile ducts working correctly?
Well, three things for sure. One, if the bile ducts or gallbladder become blocked, bile backs up in the liver. Two, bile flow blockages can be caused by many different problems, such as infection, cancer, a fatty liver, or liver scarring. And 3, blocked bile ducts have the potential to cause digestive disorders, gallstones, liver damage, or even liver failure.
So these little tubes are pretty important.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. And although the researchers anticipate this approach being used to repair a patient's own liver, they believe it may also offer a potential way of repairing damaged donor livers, making them suitable for transplant. This new lab-grown bile duct procedure was first completed at the University of Cambridge in the winter of 2021. They're making good use of their COVID time. So I'm sure that we're going to be hearing a lot more about this in the upcoming years.
Well, as we've learned during our previous episode, even though a liver transplant can be life-saving, it can also be difficult to obtain. One of the reasons there is cost. Requiring proof of payment for organ transplants and post-operative care is common, transplant experts say. More than 114,000 people are waiting for organs in the U.S., and fewer than 35,000 organs were transplanted. Fewer than 35,000 organs were transplanted last year, according to the United Network for Organ Sharing, or UNOS for short. Transplant centers want to make sure donated organs are not wasted.
Sure.
I can only imagine what the bioethicists have to say about that.
We can do a whole nother episode on that, Lita.
Yeah, I know. Well, we're going to be grateful right now for new research and mini bile duct organoids.
And we'll wrap up this episode and put links and some of the news reports on our website so you can lean in and get some more information.
You got it.
And if our listeners have any questions or comments related to today's show, they can contact us at PodcastDX@yahoo.com, through our website, PodcastDX.com, on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, or Instagram.
And if you have a moment to spare, please give us a review wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, please keep in mind that this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regime, and never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you've heard on this podcast.
Till next week.